Hello everyone and thanks for joining us. This is AMECO Heber English Service and you're watching our daily updates. I'm Gaila Damu. To stay with us. Prosperity Party President said efforts will be further intensified to transform Ethiopia. Prosperity Party President and the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed said Prosperity Party will intensify its ongoing efforts to transform Ethiopia by turning challenges into opportunities. Mordomuliye reports.
The ruling party First Emergency General Assembly is underway in Hawassa, Sidama region. Some 1,116 General Assembly members have been taking part in the two-day emergency meeting. During the meeting, President of the party, Abiy Ahmed, said the party has successfully accomplished most of the decisions passed in its first regular General Assembly. Noting that the nation had encountered several challenges, including the third-round conflict in the north after the General Assembly, he said that the party has registered success and lifted the country to a higher level. Citing one of the resolutions passed by the First General Assembly to export wheat as an example, the President pointed out that the nation will accordingly begin exporting wheat this Ethiopian fiscal year. The activities carried out to implement the directions put forward at the General Assembly signify the fact that it is possible to register success by turning challenges into opportunities, Abiy noted. Although Prosperity Party was established only a few years ago, it's now become one of the continentally and internationally recognized parties in terms of number of membership, he added. The President stressed the need to curb narrations that have been obstacles to development, noting that Ethiopia is a nation with immense prospect for growth. Underlining that history should not be a source of conflict and differences, Abiy pointed out that one should instead strive not to repeat the mistakes and make efforts to bring a better tomorrow by drawing lessons. The President also called on members to exert utmost effort with a view to effectively realizing the activities underway to build a better Ethiopia by turning challenges into opportunities. Moreover, he stressed the party's commitment to effectively implement directions to be set by the Emergency General Assembly. Prosperity Party Deputy President Amhara said the party has made achievements in terms of responding to the demands of the people.
Sustainable Government Project is to establish Center of Excellence that enhances knowledge of policy coherence. Addis Ababa University Project Coordinator Aklilu disclosed that Sustainable Government Project, a joint project of University of Oslo and Addis Ababa University, has a plan to establish a Center of Excellence that enhances knowledge to address policy coherence and synergy among various government policies. Abebe Burhani tells us more.
The joint project organized a roundtable discussion under the theme Policy Coherence for Achieving Sustainable Development Goals in Ethiopia with members of the House of People's Representatives who represented the various standing committees. Speaking on the occasion, Addis Ababa University Project Coordinator Aklilu Amsalu said, the universities have a plan to establish a center of excellence that enhances knowledge of the legislative body to identify lack of policy coherence and synergy among various government policies. He stressed that policy coherence and synergy between various government institutions is vital to achieve sustainable development goals. Addis Ababa University has already started activities to establish a center of excellence that supports the achievement of sustainable development goals. The Center of Excellence would offer short and long-term training up to third degree level. It was learned that the training will be accessible to government institutions and development drivers.
Today we organized a roundtable discussion with members of Ethiopian Parliament. And actually this activity is part of our initiative related to a project on the governance of sustainable development goals. So at Addis Ababa University, we have already a project that started last year on the governance of sustainable development goals. So one of the objectives of this project is to carry out short-term capacity building activities targeting various actors, which the members of parliament as legislators our key actors. So we wanted to discuss with them on several issues related to some of the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals. And as you have seen today, the theme of our discussion was on policy coherence for achieving Sustainable Development Goals in Ethiopia. So there are quite a number of issues related to policy coherence at the policy level as well as at the practice level. So this discussion, we expect that will come up with very interesting experiences and practices that would help us to foster our endeavors towards achieving Sustainable Development Goals in our country.
According to the coordinator, the Center of Excellence will also conduct studies and researches that are useful for policymakers. Akilu elaborated that the SystGov project is aimed at influencing and building public policy and further strengthening research, educational and administrative capacity in Ethiopia to enhance the capacity of legislative body and media in particular. He stated that the project will focus on contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals being implemented in Ethiopia. House of People's Representatives Water, Irrigation and Lowland Area Affairs Deputy Chairman Awok Amzai said on his part that the duty of the parliament is to formulate laws and control the executive body, whether the laws formulated are properly applied by the executive body. Bringing coordination and synergy between different lines of ministries is therefore vital for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals.
It's very important because discussing and actually bringing synergy between line ministries is a very important issue for development. And coordination between line ministries is very crucial for sustainable development. So by getting some information from this discussion at this forum, we can use the information to inform actually line ministries to review their policies and actually make coordination between different departments.
United Arab Emirates Embassy marks National Day in Addis Ababa. The 51st anniversary of the founding of the United Arab Emirates was celebrated in Addis Ababa yesterday. In his remark during the occasion, United Arab Emirates Ambassador in Ethiopia, Mohammed Salem Al-Rashidi, said the bilateral relations between the United Arab Emirates and Ethiopia is manifested in several areas, including political, economic, and social, among others. Middle East, Asia, and Pacific Affairs Director General at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Gabeyo Ganga, said on his part that the relationship between the two countries is growing in diverse spheres. It is also worth mentioning that Ethiopia and the UAE are doing well in areas of regional and international issues, particularly in peacemaking efforts in the Horn of Africa, he added. He said there is a good reason for the two countries to further build on relations, as Ethiopia and UAE have continued expanding collaboration, including addressing challenges of climate change, terrorism, as well as shared security challenges. The UAE National Day ceremony was attended by representatives of the Ethiopian government, ambassadors of various countries accredited to Ethiopia, and representatives of international organizations, among others. Russia's head of Federal Agency on Mineral Resources, Evgeny Petrov, told Ethiopian news agency that Russia is ready to share knowledge and experience on various areas with Ethiopia-Russia Federal Agency on Mineral Resources. Abeba Brahani has the details.
The 8th Ethio-Russia Intergovernmental Commission meeting, which aimed at enhancing trade, investment, scientific and technical cooperation, as well as advancing and transforming people-to-people relations, took place in Addis Ababa from 6 to 8 December 2022. In an exclusive interview with Ethiopian news agency, Petrov said that the Ethio-Russia Intergovernmental Commission meeting will enable the two countries to further strengthen their cooperation in various areas.
We are ready to share our experience, knowledge and technologies. потому что, как мы видим, сегодня сильно меняется мировой рынок.
Because as we can see nowadays, the world market is changing rapidly.
И это возможности, прежде всего, для Эфиопии и нашей страны.
And these are opportunities, first of all, for Ethiopia and our country.
Мы имеем очень долгую историю отношений.
We have been tracing very long history of our interrelations.
И сегодня возможность, объединив наши усилия, вывести отношения на принципиально новый уровень.
And nowadays we have a possibility to unite our efforts and to start the new level of our relations.
Чтобы наши экономические отношения были такие же высокие, как политические отношения между нашими лидерами и между нашими народами.
So that our economical interrelations could be on such a high level as our governmental and political level.
He underscored that thus the economic cooperation of the two countries can be elevated to a higher level. It is noted that upon the conclusion of the 8th Ethio-Russia Intergovernmental Commission meeting, Innovation and Technology Minister Bellet Molla told the media that Ethiopia and Russia have agreed to enhance bilateral cooperation in various spheres, including mining, energy, trade and science and technology.
An expert said capital markets are important to help raise capital from external and domestic sources. Senior Policy Advisory Konstantinos Brutesva said that the capital markets being introduced to Ethiopia are very important to the economy as they would raise capital from external and domestic sources of finance. Mordomulye presents the story.
It is to be recalled that the government had established an institution and appointed leaders to start the long-awaited capital markets in Ethiopia. The senior policy advisory told Ethiopian news agency that starting capital markets in Ethiopia is crucial to the private sector in the Ethiopian economy.
Capital markets are very important for the national economy in terms of raising capital for development projects that the government or private sector is undertaking. And capital markets are also very important in terms of building the capital of the private sector.
He stated that starting capital market will give opportunities for public and private banks, companies and others which are advertising on media outlets to sell shares to have prospectus of profit-making status that makes investors' buying decision easier with minimized risk. If we have capital markets, people will go and buy shares when they see a company is making profit. They will buy shares, the policy advisor added.
If you advertise, for example, a new company, and you say this company is going to be a game changer in a sense, then people will take risks to invest in this company. That's where the capital market is going to be an important player.
He, however, believes that introducing capital markets should be aligned with other reforms of economic components. According to him, capital markets cannot function alone. They have to be part of a sea of other components, including ease of doing business, financial liberalization, transformation, and intermediation that are very significant in the development of financial markets in the country. Elaborating further, he mentioned the agricultural sector in Ethiopia by pointing out that the country has huge potential in agriculture with 74 million hectares of agricultural land and rivers outflowing more than 100 billion cubic meters of water annually. For him, investing in this immense agricultural potential is crucial and needs huge financing. The capital markets will contribute to solving this primary investment challenge, especially for Ethiopian investors. Konstantinos acknowledged that the Commercial Bank of Ethiopia and Development Bank of Ethiopia have been giving agricultural loans to transform the country's import substitution. The senior advisor further stated that the introduction of the capital markets in Ethiopia will enable domestic companies which want to raise capital in the international stock market to have their prospectus of profit-making so that investors can buy from anywhere in the world without the need to come to Ethiopia and get investment license. Ethiopia approved a new capital markets establishment proclamation in 2021 to provide legal foundation for the development of capital markets in the country and to support economic development through increased capital mobilization, financial innovation and risk-sharing investment.
You're watching AMECO Haber English service, and now let's proceed to news beyond borders. Biden is to reboot ties with Africa during the US-Africa Leaders Summit. African leaders are meeting this week in the United States of America for the annual US-Africa Summit. The summit brings together several African leaders, organizations, and top US government officials. Biden's three-day summit will feature announcements of new US investment and highlight food security worsened by the invasion of Ukraine. The summit will also focus on values such as democracy and good governance, as well as fighting climate change. One key topic will be the fate of the African Growth and Opportunity Act, the 2000 deal that granted duty-free access to the U.S. market for most products from sub-Saharan nations that meet standards on rights and democracy. The pact expired in 2025, leading African leaders to seek clarity at a time when the United States has soared on trade deals. The United States had invited all African Union members in good standing and with which Washington has full relations. Leaders from South Africa, Egypt, Democratic Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea, Tunisia, and other African countries are expected to attend the summit. Kenya celebrates its 59th anniversary as a republic. Thousands of people gathered at Nairobi's Nyayo National Stadium to attend the military parade. Kenya celebrated 59 years of independence from British colonial rule on Monday. Kenya's fifth president, William Ruto, paid homage to those who helped free Kenya from British colonialism nearly 6 decades ago as heroic defenders of the country's sovereignty. Speaking in Nairobi, Ruto said independence had brought many achievements and much progress to the country. He said the 6th decade of independence proudly cites many achievements and impressive progress made through consistent effort as evidence that the freedom struggle was neither an empty political adventure nor a reactionary born of idle resentment. Ruto said Kenya was consistent in peacekeeping mission to ensure security and stability in Africa. Museveni accuses Europe for hypocrisy on its climate and energy policy. Uganda's veteran president Yoweri Museveni accused Europe on Wednesday of brazen double standards towards Africa in its climate and energy policies. He lashed out at Europe's return to coal-fired power plants in the face of the energy crisis triggered by the war in Ukraine, while at the same time telling African nations not to use fossil fuels. He said Europe's failure to meet its climate goals should not be Africa's problem. Museveni comments follow warning from African leaders at COP27 about the damage climate change is already wreaking on the continent. The UN's Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change in February warned that tens of millions of Africans face a future marked by drought, disease, and displacement due to global heating. Wealthy nations have failed to provide a pledged $100 billion a year from 2020 to developing nations to help them build resilience and green their economies, reaching just $83 billion, according to the UN. Africa's carbon footprint is the lowest of any continent, accounting for around 3% of global carbon dioxide emissions. Museveni said European nations needed to end their brazen double standards and hypocrisy and took aim at what he said were conditions that Western investment in fossil fuels in Africa was possible only for fuel and gas that would be sent to Europe. The European Parliament in September adopted a resolution calling for the project to be delayed over rights violations. This is AMECO Haber English service, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.